Hey, what's up, guys? Prepared Survivalist here. Alright, we're going to look at a new way to make snares from material that you can get from Walmart or a hardware store. I'm always looking for new snare materials. Yeah, you can get the professional trapper snares, but those are typically a lot more expensive. These that I'm making here, I got for $5, and you can basically make about 3 to 4 snares. So it's a little over $1 per snare. It's not too bad price wise. So I start out with braided 100-pound picture frame wire. So this is pretty heavy duty wire. If you get single strand wire, it'll generally snap and break easier. So the braided is a little bit stronger. Now it does have some weaknesses. So each individual strand, I don't know, maybe you can see that. I mean, there's probably 20 strands per piece of wire. Each individual strand is still weak in itself, so it's kind of like rope. I mean, it's braided, obviously. But if something were to kind of twist or gnaw on this a lot, it could, in theory, break each little wire one by one. And I actually have seen that done with a 50-pound wire, and I believe it was a skunk that got in it. And I had kind of a unique snare trap set up, but it broke through, so it came up and the whole wire looked like it had just been chewed through. And I don't think they can chew through it very easily, so it's probably just twisting it and bending it, and it can be broken that way. So it's not foolproof, it's not indestructible, but 100-pound is pretty darn strong. So, I mean, I would think it could do a coyote, but definitely anything less than a coyote, like raccoon and under, it shouldn't have a problem with. So what we've got here is just the wire, and then this other piece, which is from a clip and thimble set, or thimble clip set. And basically you take a piece of wire and you turn it into a hook, or give it a loop. So you get 3 of these in that set, along with another metal piece that actually makes the loop for the hook. So you get 3 of those, and you only need 1 per snare, so that's why you can make 3 snares out of this. The snare wire is like 260, 270 for 20 feet, and you only need about 3.5 feet per snare. And then the clips, thimbles are 250 for 3 of those. So it's about $5, and you're gonna have leftover wire too. Okay, so the main thing you do is just well, I guess I'll start with a new one here. So you want these will come a bit backed out, so you're just gonna put it through. Give yourself some slack here. You put it back through, so you're gonna make that loop. Now there's something else you want to do here, just to make sure that this thing isn't gonna come undone on you. You want to be as sparing with the wire as you can. You don't need any wasted wire, so give yourself a good little size loop, about like that. I mean, enough that you could probably fit your finger through. You don't want that part to be too big, and then you're going to bend that back around, almost making like a figure 8. You're going to feed that back through, and since it's braided wire, the strands are gonna try to break open on you and everything. Okay. So then once you get that in there, you start cinching it down. So basically we just went through, came back, and then went back through again the same way. And you're leaving a much smaller loop on that side, but enough that you could always put something in there if need be. And then of course you just tighten these with ratchet or pliers. And they actually tighten up a lot more than you'd think they would. So you just keep working on those. And all it's doing is just smashing that wire in there and locking into place. With the amount of pressure smashing that in there, along with the friction from the metal on metal and the braided wire, it's not going to pull loose. Now, if you were worried about that, technically you can put a screw in there, just drill the screw in there, or a nail or something, just so if it did want to try to pull back through, it's going to lock in and be pinned against that hook part. So there you go. That's basically like a keeper that holds your loop into place. So it's nice and heavy, so this snare will, when activated, it'll drop down and close due to the weight of that. What I do is face the screws up and kind of pull the wire through my hand to reshape it in a manner to where it's curling inward towards these screws. And then you just feed your wire through there like that. And that's your snare loop. Now on this end, what I do is I give myself a good amount of slack there. You're going to want a pretty big loop because this loop here has to feed the snare and the keeper through it. So I go over, basically make an overhand. Okay. And then I go back across there. I don't know what type of knot that's called. Okay. And then just start twisting it. The twist is the main thing you're wanting to do. The reason I go over and back is just to kind of help to keep that square knot type knot in place. And then those ends will kind of fray up on you, so you take your pliers and you just kind of twist and squeeze those down because you don't want those loose wires sticking out anywhere. That gives you a nice solid loop there. Okay, you're basically just making a slip knot, and this goes around it's two snares basically, but this snare goes around a tree. And obviously it can be put on and undone easily. You don't need a stake or anything. Technically you could use one, but this is meant for like fence posts, trees, because trees are going to be everywhere, and it's an easy way to attach it and undo it. So that's basically how to make that thing. Now on this other one, I did something extra. If you could see that there. Those are pointed. So I took my Dremel and angled it at a 45, which is kind of a pain in the butt on these, and used the cutting disc and gave it a nice sharp edge. Okay. Now what that does, as long as you shape the wire so that's facing inwards. Let's see if I hurt myself here. So here's snares like this, something gets in there, it pulls tight on it. Okay, so you can see that as I pull tighter, those spikes are digging in, okay? If I were to pull that real tight, those will start to eat into my skin and puncture it and tear it. The reason you want to do this, it's not to cause the animal pain, it's not to make it lethal or anything like that. It's the whole point is to encourage the animal to resist and try to get out. Because ideally you're going to get a catch around the head and the neck, and more than likely, unless you have this facing upward, which technically you could, that could go into the throat, but it's probably going to drop down on its neck. But the tighter it pulls, those spikes is basically what you've created. You're going to be jamming and tearing into the animal's neck, and that's obviously going to be an irritant, and it's going to cause him to continue to fight, which is going to make it worse, which is going to make him fight harder, which eventually is going to choke itself out. So sometimes an animal may get caught, and it'll relax for a little bit because it gets tired, start up the fight again, relax. Sometimes they'll just be sitting there resigned to the fact that they're trapped. But if you have something like this, while technically I guess it's more cruel, but these should be used in a survival situation only. It's going to hopefully make the trap more lethal in the simple fact that the animal is going to continue to resist and fight and struggle. So that pain will stop, but it's just going to make it worse, and it'll just keep fighting all its strength until it's too late. So that's pretty much it. That's how you make these, and a little description of how they work. But like I say, you can get about 3 to 4 of these for $5. Since you have extra, you'll have some extra wire left over. It's probably just really the cost of these keepers. Now that I found them in this set, and they come with an extra piece, so you don't really need that piece. But if you could find these individually, you could probably do this a lot cheaper. But still, $1.30 per snare or less is not bad at all. You could buy several packs of these and make 10 of them for pretty cheap. So that's about it on this one, guys. Appreciate the views. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching.